Hi everyone, another Tuesday, another video on Decoded Frontend channel. My name is Mitch Romzhensky and I hope you're pretty excited today because we continue to talk about Angular Router Guards, and today I'm gonna show you how to create and how to use CanDeactivate Router Guard. So stay here and let's get started. But okay, so what does this CanDeactivate Router Guard? CanDeactivate Router Guard involves some logic before we trying to leave some certain route and destroy the component associated with it. So basically this is opposite what CanDeactivate does, which involves some logic before we try to create component for some associated router. However, if you hear first time about CanDeactivate Router Guard or Router Guards itself, I would recommend you to check out my previous video exactly about this topic, so you can do it a bit later, but let's continue. When would we need such a scenario where we want to check if we want to destroy component or not? Well, you can imagine just a huge form, which we usually fill out, so we should put their name, surname, address, whatever, hundreds of fields, very complex form, and imagine the situation that incidentally you leave this page and when you go back the data you entered disappeared. This is extremely bad user experience, and data which user enters in your forms, this is the most important data. You have to care about safety of this data as much as possible, and CanDeactivate Guard can help you with this, because before you navigate from this form you can check if this form is saved or not, and then if it's saved you can allow user to leave page. Otherwise you prevent the navigation and save the data entered by user. Okay, it was some small lecture. Now let's jump right to the code and see this everything in action. Okay, for those who didn't see the first part, I'm going to reuse the project from previous video. This is just a super simple application which has two roles, home and admin, and there inside we have three tabs. We can navigate there, and we have add product, add user, and some form inside these roles. So pretty straightforward. This is how it looks in source code. So we have admin module, which contains the add user product, so basically everything under this role, and we have also home, which is a very simple component. Auth, it is auth service or fake auth service, and we have also authentication guard here and also permission guard. So for this video it is not so relevant. This is for previous one. What is also worth to mention is this app routing. So this is all routes for our application. That's the file we're going to work with in this video as well. But let's go step by step. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add CanDeactivate Router Guard for add product router, and once we try to navigate from add product, this guard should check if our form is dirty, means if we already typed some value inside, and if so, we should see some dialog window, and we're going to use the Angular Material Dialog window with the forward cancel button. So if we press forward, we navigate from this road, and if we click cancel, we stay on this road. Or if it was not, if the form was not touched at all, then we just let user go. So let's get started, and I will create the guard first of all. Let's start with it, and I'm going to create it under the let's keep all guards under this auth, why not? And I'm going to use NX console extension in order to generate the guard. Like I'm going to name it form guard. Then I'm going to say that it should implement CanDeactivate interface. And then I will just skip tests. And I click run button in order to generate the guard for me. And this NX console extension will do it. And you can see that we have created form a guard ts file. For whatever reason it created out from us. Okay, let's pull it there. And let's have a look how it looks like. So as any router guard, it is just a service which implements CanDeactivate interface. And this is the method which is required to be implemented by this interface. And the next thing we have to do, we have to attach this guard to some certain route. And as I told that we're going to attach it to add product guard. So let's find it in app route model, and we see here's add product, and we can say that can I deactivate and provide the array with our guard. So as you can see, this is array. There can be, I don't know, some multiple guards if you need it, but in this particular case we're going to use the only one. And if we save it, and let's maybe put some console log here. So I'm going to save it, and now let's try to navigate from add user. Let's clean up this one, and you can see that it was triggered. So this is, it means that our CanDeactivate was involved, yeah, before we tried to leave this add product route. And you can see here I'm checking permissions. This is from previous video. This is another guard, but we are not interested in it for now. So I'm going to remove this part, and you can see that so far it's quite useless because it always returns true. So user always can leave our guard, which makes not too much sense. And let's bring some I don't know, logic to it, right? And let's have a look at parameters which takes this CanActivate. So we have the current route or activated route snapshot, we have the router state snapshot, and we have the next state. So this is the snapshot for the router where we end up if we pass this guard. Okay, this is the router we go to. Because maybe your logic can depend on the condition of the router you go to, and for that reason you have to, you know, check it somehow. I don't know. I don't know real life example for it, but if you know, please write in the comments this. And the most interesting part is the first parameter, and this is the component. And so far it is unknown, and it makes sense because TypeScript cannot know in advance to which router we will attach this guard. But we know, and we attach it to add product. So in the first argument for CanDeactivate method, we will get the router which associated with this path, right? So here we will get add product component. And I already hear how more experienced developers say that no, we don't need to depend on concrete component, let abstract it because dependency inversion and things like that. We will do it, don't worry, but let's give the chance to less experienced developers to understand why interfaces or some another abstractions might be beneficial for this use case. So, but let's continue so far. Yeah, that's this refactoring we will do a bit later at the very end. But yeah, we have the component, right? And we know that we have some form. And basically what we can do is return the component, or I don't need this, I can return component form, and I can say that if it's dirty, we should return false, and false means that we are not allowed to navigate from this road, and true allows to navigate. So if our form is dirty, we return false. Otherwise, it's true. Let's check if it works. So I go here, I type something, so I make this form dirty, and it will not work because we are on the add user. So let's switch to add product. I type things, and now if I try to leave this page, you see it doesn't allow me to go to the show list road because this form is dirty. Alright, so let's maybe bring some option for user which allows user to ignore this warning and leave our road. So I can say like if component form dirty, so if it's dirty, right, we have to perform another check, like if user confirms that he's sure that he wants to leave the page, we return true, right? And otherwise we would return false. So here we go, yeah? And by default we return true, right? Oops, true. If the component, if the form was not touched at all, we return true. So we skip this part in that case. All right, so let's go here. I type something and I try to navigate away, and you see here we are being asked if we're sure that we want to go, and I press OK and I navigated back. If I, oops, this save doesn't work anyway. If I navigate back and I say cancel, in this case, I stay on the same road. So this is the very basic implementation, but like, who uses this confirm? This looks ugly, right? So let's implement it with a proper dialog, like Material Dialog. So let's get started, and I'm going to create another component, and it's going to be confirm dialog. It's gonna be a CSS display block. Okay, it looks like it's done, and under the admin, yeah, we have confirm dialog. Super simple, and let's maybe add some, I don't know, template, like are you sure? Or let's try to speed it up a little bit. So welcome back. I added some templates. So this is just some title. You can see my dialog title thingy, and this is my dialog content, actions, and so this everything basically the Angular material layout. And here's one important thing to mention, that this mod dialog close directive, it closes the dialog, and by default it returns some faulty value, but we can define another value we want, and this value will be returned if user clicks on this forward button. So dialog closes and returned value we defined for this dialog close directive. I hope it's clear. And you see we have the error here because we have to import Material Dialog module to our admin module. So let's do it. Here we go. Now I save it. I close this file. You can see errors disappeared. And now let's go back to our guard, and we have to inject our dialog service, which comes from Angular Materials. So I introduce constructor here. I say private dialog and mod dialog. I believe it called like this. Okay, and now instead of this confirm are you sure, we return it, and if our form is dirty, then we have to create dialog window, right? So let's create a constant. I will call it dialog ref, and we're going to open a new dialog. So the first parameter, this is the component we want to render in this dialog. So it's a confirm dialog component, and we can provide some, I don't know, additional dialog config, but I will leave it as it is because we don't need it so far. Then a dialog ref has such a thing called after close, I believe, and this is the method which returns observable, and here in this stream we get the value which basically dispatch this directive on close event. So it emits either some false value in that stream if we click cancel, or there will be returned true in that stream inside this after open, because we defined here true. So once we click it, we return true. So it means that we can return only this part, right? And it complains, I don't get it. Sorry, I typed after open, we need after closed. Yeah, here we go. So what we have done, just briefly, if form is dirty, we create the dialog. We wait until user interact with one of these button. If we click on some of this button, either this or that, will be returned value which we defined for this dialog close directive. So it will be either something falsy or true value. Then it goes to this stream, and this stream returns. And once we get some value in this stream, then Angular either cancel navigation at all, or it will initiate the new navigation which redirects user to the route he initially wanted to go. And if our form is not dirty, we return true, but let maybe keep everything observable. I will wrap it into off. Just for consistency, because we work with observables in this case. Those three guys I'm going to remove. I save it, and now let's try it out. So I go to our application, just reload it, and let's type something. Now I'm going to leave the page, and here we go. We see this nice dialog which asks and warn us that we will lose all data. We're scared about this. I click cancel, we stay on this screen, and if I, as example, click forward, we should be navigated to add user, and as you can see, it works perfectly fine. Now the last thing, let's do some refactoring and make it a bit more flexible, and I am about this part. You can see that we depend on some concrete component. That's bad because we don't know where we want to reuse this component or this guard. Maybe we want to in the future protect, not only add product route, but we want to add it to add user as example. Why not? So in this case, our router guard will get not an add product component, but add user component if we will try to go away from add user route, right? And it will not work because this add user component may have different API, because there is no any guarantee that the add user has this form property. So we have to make it a little bit more flexible, and I would suggest you to depend not on the concrete component but on some interface. And let's create this interface. I'm going to create I will name it, oh my god, how to name it? Save data interface. Sorry guys, I'm terrible with naming, so but I hope it will not confuse you at all. Let's export interface, call it save data, whatever. And here we could define that every component or class, whatever, which implements save that data interface, it should have a form, like form group, or what do we use? But still, this is like we depend on some concrete form, but who knows, maybe we don't need any form, maybe we depend on some internal state, whatever. So I would suggest you to have, instead of form property, method, and this method will be is data saved, yeah, and it will return boolean. Here we go, and we can remove this in unused import. Then I'm going to copy this save data, I close it, and I'm going to implement this for every component which is protected by this form guard. And let's have a look where we attach it. We attach this to add user and add product. So let's go to add product, and we implement, besides on init, we also implement save data, and we have to implement interface is data saved, and it will return very simple check this form dirty, and we have to reverse it like this. So if it's not dirty, means data is saved. And let's copy it and do the same for add user as well. So I go to add user, and we implement save data, and I place is saved method here below. So don't forget to save everything here. Yes, I want to save it. And then we go to our guard. So this form guard. And now instead of this add product component, we say that it's going to be something which implements save data. We don't know which exactly component is there, but we know that this component has method is data saved. And this is everything what we have to know, or everything what this guard needs to know. And now we can save and check our final solution. So you remember we added this to add user as well. So I try to type something, I navigate back, and nothing has been changed. Why? Because we either of course, because if data saved, we don't need the confirmation dialog. We need it when data is not saved. Yeah, so I forgot to reverse it. And now if we save, it should work fine, hopefully. So add product, I type things, then I try to navigate to add user. I see dialog window, so I can cancel, so we stay. Then I click forward, we navigate to add user. And if I do the same for the user and try to go show list as example, we see again the dialog window. and it was working with both these components together. So this is how you can make your guard a bit more flexible. Alright guys, that was it. I hope you found this video useful, and if so, please share this video with your colleagues and friends. And also don't forget that I have a couple of video courses. The first one is about GraphQL engine called Hasura, which allows you to turn your database into real-time GraphQL endpoints within literally minutes. And the second one is about Angular Material Theming. Those are great courses, please check it out. The links will be in the video description as well as some coupon codes. And I wish you a productive week ahead, stay safe and see you in 2 weeks. Bye.